Where is the thing that I sewed? Oh, it's up there. Can you see it? It's up there. Let me go get it. We're gonna make this thing right here. Here is today's video called the Air Castle. I think that's what it's called. And I apologize for the way that I sound, but I'm doing it anyway. It took me 3 times to get it right because I didn't follow the instructions. So I'm going to show you my successful attempt at making this, and then I'm going to show you 3 minutes of a failed attempt at the end of the video. But in today's video, we're going to learn how to make this. Grab your sewing gear. Let's get into it. Alright, so first off, like I said earlier, I apologize how I sound. I've got a sinus thing going on, but we're going to keep going anyway because the show must go on regardless. But first off, you're going to get some scrap fabric. You're going to get some squares. The actual quantity of squares is going to change halfway through. You're going to get like 12 or 15 squares. You may want to watch the video once through to see what I've done, because I keep all of my mistakes into the video because I had a ride with this one straight up. But you're going to get some squares of fabric. The ones I'm using are 5.5-inch squares. You're going to take 2 sets of these squares. Oh yeah, I should probably preface this by saying that when you do this block, for it to make sense, you want to have a dark type color, a mid type color, and a light type color. It's going to make it a lot easier. But what you're going to do is you're going to be making 4 half square triangles with 2 of your light fabrics and 2 of your mid fabrics. And if you've watched my videos at all, any of my previous ones, you'll be a pro at making these half square triangles. But if not, what you're going to do, you're going to take your squares, put them pretty sides together. You're going to take a line down the diagonal of both of those sets, and then you're going to sew a 1/4-inch seam allowance on either side of that diagonal line. Once you do that, you'll go ahead and cut them apart with your preferred tool. I prefer a rotary cutter. It just makes things easy. After that, you're going to have 4 sets of half square triangles. Now this block is a little bit different than other blocks that I've done on this channel because you're going to be making, with your half square triangles, you're going to be making half square, I'm not even sure what the name of it is, to be honest, but you're going to be taking your half square triangles, and you're also going to be taking your dark fabric and adding that to them to make it into a different looking block. And first off, we're going to get everything nice and pressed because we are doing things the right way, or as right as we can. So but go ahead and get all of those pressed. And now you're going to be taking 2 of those, and you're going to take 2 of your squares of your dark fabric, and you'll be putting those right sides or pretty sides on top of each other. Now this is where things start going awry, and this is where I should have just paid more attention to the pattern and not gone rogue. I should have just done it like it said and cut out triangles and sewn things on the bias. But I actually don't like to sew on the bias because things just get stretchy. But you can see what I'm doing with having the squares and the half square triangles in opposite directions. You don't want to do this. At the end of this process, you're going to see that what you need are going to be 4 of these half C type half square triangles, and all 4 of them need to be the same. It's gonna make sense. I really screwed this up. I mean, not like super duper bad, but it took way more time than it should have. And you will see the mistake that I made once you see what I do with taking these half square triangles and turning them into something else. So I went through and did the exact same process as I did before with my original half square triangles, but little do I know that things are not going to go my way. And I actually, again, this was the third/fourth attempt of me doing this block before I actually got it correct. But once I did go through with what I did, I went through and I pressed everything, pressing all of my seams over to the dark side because that's what you need to do. Now, this is where I was like, before I trim what I'm doing, let me look at my pattern, set it to the side, and let me do assembly to make sure that I've got everything right. And like I said, little do I know, I do not have anything right at all. I'm looking at what I made and I'm looking at my pieces and I'm contemplating my entire sewing career as to what I did wrong on this. And you can see me try to flip it around to think, oh, I can make it work. No, I actually, in fact, did not do what I needed to do. But all of my pieces should look like that one right there in the middle of the screen. No, because I did not pay attention to the pattern, 2 of them looked like that and 2 of them were the opposite. And that was something I didn't even think about when I just went into this whole process. I was just like, I'm going to try it. I'm going to go for it and we'll just see what happens. So that is why I cut so many extras. Because I had my extra pieces, making the ones that I needed were not that big of a deal. So once I sat there for a minute contemplating everything and trying to figure out what I needed to do, what I did was I took my extra half square triangles that I had made from the beginning and I looked at what I needed and I took that into account and decided to put the ones that I messed up on. I put those to the side because I'll use those in another project. But I did go ahead and take my ones that I had made for the corners and decided to fix my mistake. So what I'm doing is I'm taking my light and my mid half square triangles and I'm going to be adding the black on the side that needs to be added too. And this is me triple checking, trying to make sure that I am still putting what I need on the right side. And even with me triple checking, I got the first one correct, but for some reason, I still got the fourth one, the last one that I needed, I still got it wrong, even though I checked it. Had to get the seam ripper out and fixed yet another mistake. I'm telling y'all, I went through the ringer on this. I should have just paid attention and done it the way that I should have, but I just wanted to be a rebel. And it did not work out in my favor. So, but once I finally got these 4 that I needed, the rest of the block is actually super simple. So what you're going to do is you're going to lay out your pieces. I started with the complicated ones first because I just had a feeling that something was going to go wild with it. But after that, I went ahead and trimmed all of my blocks up. They ended up being with making the half square triangles and then adding the black. You're actually losing an inch of material when you do that. So I am trimming all of my pieces down to 4.5 inch square with my handy dandy ruler. Now, since I had used my half square triangles to fix my mess up, turns out I had actually done them incorrect from the get-go because I should have done a dark fabric and a light fabric. But again, I had extra pieces to work with. I did have to cut out some more. Luckily, I had some more of both of these fabrics, so it wasn't a huge deal to cut out more. But if I had just done the diagonals, it would have been just so much easier. But you live, you learn, you try things out, and go from there. So now I am taking these are going to be my corner pieces, and since they were cut big from the get-go, I did have to press them and get them cut down to the appropriate size. One thing to keep in mind as well is that you'll also need a middle square that matches this size. So since we were rolling with the 4.5-inch square, you want to have a middle square that is your mid color fabric, and you're going to make sure to cut it the same size as all of your other pieces so everything matches. Now, once you get your corner half square triangles done, you get your complicated ones that are in the other side, and you get your middle square. Now we are in the home stretch. We are ready to get everything laid out and make sure everything is in its appropriate spot and get it sewn up and ready to go. Now, once you get everything laid out, you're going to be combining everything with a 1/4-inch seam allowance. Now, once you get your first 2 rows combined with that 1/4-inch seam allowance, you're going to do the exact same thing on that 3rd row, and you're going to attach them with clips or pins, whatever your preferred method is. And then we'll take it back to the machine and get that sewn up. All right, so now once you get all of those together with your 1/4-inch seam allowance, we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing on the remaining rows that we have. Now, what you're going to want to do is where the intersections happen, you're going to want to nest your seams so that everything looks nice and neat. And I'm going to give a little bit of a close-up of what nesting the seams looks like. You basically want one seam to lay over on one side and the other seam to lay over on the other, so that when they come together, everything on the front side looks nice and neat. Then you're going to go back to your machine and you're going to do a 1/4-inch seam allowance on both of those parts right there. And once you get all of that done, this is what you're going to be left with. We're going to go ahead and turn that over and give everything a good press. If you know anything about my channel, again, you know that when it comes to pressing the seams on the back, I just kind of let them lay where they want to lay. If you want to press them open, feel free. If you want to press them to a certain side, go right ahead. But with me, wherever they feel like they want to lay is where I'm going to lay them and where I'm going to press them. But this is where we end up with. I had one of my intersections that was a tiny bit wonky, but all in all, I think I did pretty good with this. And my finished size is going to be 12 inches by 12 inches square, which I feel like is a pretty nice size. And you can use this block in so many different ways. I like how it looks like it's kind of spinning around. But yeah, so this is the Air Castle quilt block, and this is my good attempt of making it. Now, if you want to stick around for like 3 more minutes, I actually have my initial failed attempt. I sped it up 400% if you want to see my whole thought process and all of the planning that I did and how it still failed. Then continue watching on and you can just see it was basically the same issue that I had before, where I didn't take into account with my half square triangles and doing, making sure they're all the same. But yeah, I had drawings and planning and all of this jazz. And yeah, and plus it ended up a little too small. I don't like a quilt block that's super small. So but yeah, so if you want to see this, like I said, it's about 3 minutes long, so feel free. But if you didn't want to see it, I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I appreciate you watching. If you want to see more sewing content, then feel free to subscribe, and I will see you next time.